Thank you very much, Gillian. It's really nice to be here today. I've put together a quick PowerPoint because, like, we're lawyers and we talk with PowerPoint. But so I'm going to start sharing here in a second. Let's make sure this all works. If you could just, I'm hoping everybody is seeing my screen right now. So I want to thank Donna for inviting me and the whole team. It's really a privilege to be here with you today. I think that you're doing something really great in light of tough circumstances. So glad to be talking to you guys about my experience. So the topic that I want to talk today is the technology's impact on the legal sector, or how I ended up running a virtual national law firm. You know, I need to start by saying that I co-founded Simplex Legal. We do in-house counsel services on demand. We're national. We've got over 25 lawyers in 4 provinces. We offer our services remotely, virtually. And there's my bragging notes there that I was nominated in the Changemaker category, top 25 legal influencers. That made me very, very happy. And as well as your colleague here, Sarah Coder, I'm running for a board member position. So please vote. Like, we need you to get engaged and have your voice heard. So my experience been in private practice for many years. Then I moved as Associate General Counsel for GE Capital. I've been doing the law firm management piece for a while now. An entrepreneur at heart, my passion is really about innovation and technology. And during these COVID time, I should probably say that I'm also a gardener and a chef at home, because that's where I am eating my emotions and growing them. So, you know, I've been running this virtual law firm for over 10 years now. So we were probably one of the first one, and we're certainly probably the first virtual national law firm. It might look scary when we think of it, but I just want to make the point today that doing law differently is not that hard. There's a strong case to begin with that, you know, the justice and the legal system are such critical components for a democratic society that there's really a strong case to make this happen, because we cannot afford to lose the trust and confidence of our society. And for most people, as you all well know, it's too costly, too slow, and largely unintelligible. So how is that possible? Well, you know, today we have tools that exist that were not possible 20 years ago. I started practicing law with, you know, we had 1 computer for 4 students. So we're very far from this world where we could really run fully virtually a law firm. And to build on the case that your series is based on, Survive, Emerge, and Thrive, I think that's the selfish case for doing law differently. We all need to not only survive and emerge, but we need to thrive in this world, and there's a lot of changes happening. So let's talk about them for a second. What are the big influences in the legal sector? Well, basically what's happening here is customers are driving the show. It's truly a buyer's market. The growth for demand services has been under 1% year over year for traditional services. Pricing pressure, we've got in-house having a pressure to do more with less and to innovate. A lot of new alternative players like us, and tech has been taking such a big place, and it's getting cheaper. So it's time to look up and see what we can do. Certainly the global firms are doing it with a lot of resources, but I want to make the case today that even with less resources, it is totally doable. So why is it possible right now? Well, technology, you've all heard about the exponential growth in technology. And the systems are increasingly capable. I think it's important to think about the fact that today with some systems, we can do work, and one might dare to say that we can do better than some juniors that have not been properly trained, especially around like due diligence, e-discovery. There's still a lot that can be automated. we've got access to technology everywhere, anywhere, and all the time. And the proof of that is we have one of our Quebec lawyers working in BC and providing services in the afternoon after fly fishing in the morning. We've got another lawyer from Alberta who sits in the Okanagan Valley right now. And that's all possible because we all have a tablet at our hand that we can use and easily interact with other people. And the whole technology system has made us so fully integrated. We now socialize, we share, we build communities. We are also crowdsourcing, collaborating, all online. There's 4 billion people online, and there's no end in sight. So it's both exciting and unsettling. I want to show you guys, so this is just an example of what's happening right now in the legal tech market map. And this map is about 3-4 years old. So there's even more, but there's lots of money being invested. People are really spending a lot of time thinking about how they can make the work of the lawyers better and how the law firm management can be done better. So everybody's throwing their money. When we talk about technology, a lot of people want to talk about specific tools or applications, BlueJ, Google, and so on. What I want to challenge you is to think beyond that and to start focusing on the problem you're trying to solve and the functions and the tasks that you need the system to do. So how did we do that at Simplex? Well, meet Silbo. This is our virtual office. So this is a place where everybody on the team can show up to live their life at Simplex. So whether it's to start their onboarding, tell us when they're available, post pictures of their last weekend, they want to inquire about mental well-being, they can all do it on our virtual office. They can also manage customer relationship, discuss BD activity, launch a new matter, get a new client approved. And of course, there's a whole sharing platform, which is where we do our internal communications. We've got a gigantic precedent library, how-to tech support, any kind of special projects we're working on. And all of that happens while at the same time making sure that our team is fully engaged. So we do monthly meetings via Zoom. We've got sidebars regularly where the lawyers sit down and talk about specific areas of law. We've got social Fridays, virtual yoga, and of course we complement everything with some face-to-face. So technology alone cannot do it. You need the people, and those engagement tools are how we've built our people to make this happen. So tech is always nice, but make sure you have a place for your people to show up. We didn't have Silvo in the early days. This is something that we've built with the support of other people that were really doing good. So we hired IT experts to help us out. We got law students every summer to help and to build some additional modules to our virtual life. And behind the scene, we've got a number of technology that we use. I just want to give here a sense of what we have in terms of communication and collaboration, document management, marketing, business development, and practice management. This didn't happen overnight. You build one place where you identify a problem and you find a good solution with the criteria that you've set in advance, and that's how you move forward. It looks all good in hindsight, but it was all a work in progress since day one, and we still consider ourselves very much a work in progress. A lot of you have heard about AI, and I know it scares a lot of lawyers. What I want to say is I spend a lot of time reading about AI, and we're far from the really end of the world scenarios that people are talking. One of the core tenets in AI right now is the human in the loop. So it's not about AI doing it on its own. It's really facilitating and speeding up the timeline for you to get the information you need to make a decision. So don't be afraid of AI, but think about areas where we're using it currently at Simplex and you could start looking and see if it could apply to your practice. So e-discovery is an obvious field. We do a lot of contract analysis and due diligence, leveraging AI and still having our lawyers do the last part of the analysis, but the AI system does a big chunk of that grunt work. Document automation, like drafting and assembling the documents, sending them for signature. AI is a great tool. And of course, research and predicting outcome, like a tool like BlueJay can help you really negotiate a good settlement deal, leveraging quickly the information that AI can bring. So let me just see here. Okay. So that's where we see AI right now. Change is slow and it's hard. Adoption is not easy. We need to really make sure that we do better. Like every time I talk about innovation, people will say, well, you know, can I find a tool that will allow me to do exactly what I was doing? So this cartoon, I think, illustrates well. That's one part of technology, but you can go so much further than that. And over time, you will get there too. Just want to mention that Susskind, if you haven't had the chance to read his book, he discusses at length the future of justice and online courts. He may seem out there, but don't forget that in 1996, this is the same guy who predicted that email would become the main way to communicate between a lawyer and their clients. And a lot of the profession told him that he was bringing disrepute to the profession and he shouldn't be allowed to talk in public. So whether you agree or not with what he says, I think we ought to take a look and really read and inform ourselves. So, and then COVID happened. So my message to you today is really never let a good crisis go to waste. There's nothing like a crisis to ignite innovation. Like Dyson created a ventilator in 10 days. Alcohol producers started making hand sanitizers. We've been seeing the biggest experimentation, a pilot on the future of justice and law. So let's make advantage of it. Let's think about what we've been doing, what we've learned, and show people that we can do better, that we can build on this momentum and really focus on making our services to our customers better and help society as a result. Being too busy or going back to our own way won't be something acceptable. I think when the emergency of COVID will fade, we will be tempted to go back to our old way, but keep in mind that the next crisis will necessarily come again, whether it's another wave of COVID or like, just think about the last 2 decades, we've been facing terrorist attacks, flood, wildfires, hurricanes, SARS, MERS. So it happens all the time. So just thinking that COVID will go away is kind of wishful thinking. It's safe to think that this will happen in the future and we need to be ready. Plus the technology won't stop. Have you heard anybody in the tech market saying, hey, we've reached it, that's it, we've done everything we had to do? No, it's gonna continue. And you combine that with the big backlog that the courts are seeing, the access to justice issue will be an even bigger issue. So we need to move, we need to see the next wave of change and be part of it. So I'm giving you some ideas on what will happen, where I see the next wave of change, whether it's online courts, judicial decisions, where the decision makers might be relying on AI, more automation, a lot of chatbots to help people have self-help tools, research and prediction. Those are all like very easily foreseeable areas where you should be looking into and making sure you familiarize yourself. Our biggest challenges to make it happen, of course, it's our culture, our alignment of interest. I think there's a lot of unease and misunderstanding and lack of trust towards technology, but I'm really hoping that this experimentation, this time that we've seen where we are all meeting today here on Zoom, and it wasn't that hard. Like it was not easy, but it wasn't as hard as most people considered. and you have to think that what's worse than nothing, when you're stuck at home and there's no money coming in, it's better to try something than not. So let's keep that going and focus on what we can do. The lawyer's personality is a big trait, so don't forget that we're highly skeptical. Let's keep that in check and use our sense of urgency to really focus on the next part of our journey. So what does your future look like? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's going to look like whatever you choose. You get to choose. So on what side of the equation do you want to be? What should the new normal look like? I hope that we can talk together, think about the lessons we've learned in this last crisis, what worked, what didn't work, and what do we want to keep and improve for the next. I'm here. I want to hear your questions. I want to talk and continue that conversation. I will make my presentation available, and there's a lot of information on the back end if you want to explore further, lots of good reads, so I'll leave that to you. So I'm done, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Martine, for sharing your experience and your insights. We do have a question from David Barker, who is asking, do you use chatbots?
We're not only using them, but we're building some chatbots ourselves. So we've started really combining a few technology because we were not finding exactly what we wanted, but we've started doing it with some clients that had specific needs in that respect. I think there's a big area for the future, for sure.